Good morning, everybody. It's good to be alive this morning, I guess. Um, and Hey, what's up, Julian? How are you? Um, right. So, welcome to this new session. This cold morning, April 26th. I hope you have enjoyed your recess week. Um, and also, I hope you had a nice weekend. And we're live on YouTube right now. So say hi to your family and stuff like that. that. In previous sessions, we've been studying a lot of different things. I'm gonna be sharing my screen with you right now. So here we go. I'm gonna be reading the chat room if you want to share something, type something, etc., etc. And let's try to check out the calendar to see where we are right now. This is the week on the 26th of April until the 30th. You see it right here, and this is the week for the submission of first assessment and short stories. We're gonna be revising some guidelines for the in this case for the deadline or before the deadline on the 30th, which is I think it's Friday, right? Yeah, Friday 30th. The deadline is at midnight on this Friday. Okay, so I hope you've been working on your short stories, and if you got questions, just let me know. You can do it right now if you want. And apart from the short story, we've been dealing with describing people, emotions and moods in the lexical area. About the grammar, we've been checking out the primary verbs, imperatives, should have, might have, or mixed conditionals, direct and indirect questions, and we should now study correlative coordinators, unless, as long as, and out in this case phrasal verbs with in this case with the position out. And but let's talk about the short story. We should have studied some elements of fiction, in this case elements of the short story, and the idea was to work on a sort of a spin-off, like in this case like a sequel to or related to the Vampire Lestat. And I mean I would talk about, I would say, anything related to vampires, right? We've seen a lot of those like series, manga, movies, comics about vampires. Yeah, it's in this case, vampires are like a resource for many different fictional works, right? And the idea in this case, in this delivery, was to write a short story of about 800 words minimum, and then get creative in this case. You can for example read the audiobook, or you can read in this case the Vampire Lestat, which is pretty much like the second part of a saga, which was written by this famous author. And let me show you something else. Hold on. I remember that I had uploaded. Yeah, right here in Vampire Lestat Part 1 and Wright's audiobook. We got it here, and also we got it here in the files. So you can read or listen to the audiobook. And also there is a famous movie, the Interview with a Vampire, based on the book of by Anne Rice. Now, I would like to know if you have written something. This week I'm gonna start, or today I'm gonna check out maybe some in this case drafts that you have sent me. So I'm gonna be like today revising the drafts. If you wanna share with me something, maybe you've written a couple of paragraphs. I can have a look at them. No problem. Um, and um, I'm going to review the guidelines for you to remember. We got them right here. Short story is a piece of prose fiction. You know, I remember that we studied also the structure of a fictional story. You know, that we got in this case like a scenario, initial scenario, when we clearly characterize the, in this case, the main protagonist, the main character, and then we put this character into different situations, which are, um, in this case, a problem, something which is a conflict, um, and then this character starts to grow through the conflict, starts to develop, you know, let's say some important characteristics which make this character, like outstanding, remarkable over the rest of the characters. Um, Maybe because of the supernatural powers, or maybe because of the big responsibilities resting on her shoulders, etc., etc. And then we need to lead the character into the different events until the climax, maybe facing a great challenge like a nemesis, like a big, a sort of a extinction, etc., etc. And after this, drama, we need to solve the conflict, and we need to, in this case, maybe we can kill the character, kill a couple of secondary characters, and then we have this sort of, I don't know, resurrection, or sort of, in this case, resolution of the conflict, making the character even stronger, even greater, etc., etc. So in that case, you need to make decisions about, what's going to happen with the main character, right? um, Provided it is a vampire, you can kill the vampire, and then you can make it alive again, whatever you want. um, or maybe you can bury the main character, but then somebody continues with the legacy, and you have to think about that, and then you can just close the story and say, this is the end and that's it. Or maybe you can have like an open ending, and then you can say, there's a second part, there's just going to be another delivery, the continuation. But that cycle, that stage, you need to close it anyway. All right. um and then you can bring hope to the readers, or maybe you can just end pretty much everything, whatever you want. Okay, it's up to you in this case to dictate the mood of the spin-off. Mm? um and also, what else? Some requirements and instructions in this case. You can also mix universes, like a kind of a crossover, because that, as I told you, there are many different versions and stories about. I particularly like one which is called Castlevania. You can find it on Netflix, and also there's a video game, and stuff like that. But in that case, the thing is about Dracula, and there are a lot of movies, so you can start making this crossovers, and then make it, maybe, combine um, a, characteristics, and so on. What else? I'm gonna read the chat room. Goku meets Lesta. Well, that would be kind of a crazy crossover, right? But I think it will be interesting to see something like that. Who wins, Goku or Lestat, stuff like that. I was also thinking about Nanatsu no Taisai, this seven deadly sins, and there are like a race of vampires in that series, but they have no. I mean, in this case, they're not pretty much like the main, uh, let's say, breed of or race of characters. Anyway, but they're associated to the demons in this case. What else? Use Arial Times New Roman. Yeah, already know that. The ideal way of delivery for me should be Google Drive. So maybe you can create a Word doc, and then you send it to my institutional email. I'm gonna share it with you again if you don't have it. Um, but that's easier to me, because I can start checking out um, the the documents like right away. Mm. Um, it's easier than creating like another section, the tareas, tareas tab and stuff like that, and download it, then upload it again on Google Drive. I think it's easier. Just you type it, share it to me, and that's it. Um, what else? Start with an interesting title. Yes, the title is really important. Please think about the title, which is tell me that you're writing about vampires without telling me that you're writing about vampires. Something like that. What else? Describe the characters according to your story. Yes, of course. Establish the setting, the plot, the conflict, etc. The mood maybe could be sad, it could be, dark, whatever you want. Clear climax in this case. Yes, of course. The final conflict. Conclude with a proper resolution to your story. Yes, of course. And yeah, what else? But this is pretty much like the B2 in this case um, performance. You can double check this also requirements in the rubric. And what else? Your challenge. And we already mentioned this before. Oh, you got like extra links here to help you writing. How to write a short story. If you want to double check this, in this case, these web pages, you can find like some juicy um, pieces of advice in this case. Um, and what else? This short story or spin-off is 40% of the final mark, which is kind of important. It's got a good weight. Um, and that's it. Any questions, guys, about the short story, the things you have to do? Um, no questions, no comments. Gonna read the chat room. Nope. Okie dokie. All right. Well, anything you'd like to ask me, just text me. Text me anytime this week, right? From 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., please. Sometimes I answer about 9 p.m., but the ideal time to me should be 8 to 8. There's a question here. Yeah, could be possible to be a way different spin-off just involving the book's characters. Could be possible to be a way different spin-off just involving the book's characters. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No problem, Fabian. Yeah, think about the crossover is just like a crazy idea. If you don't want to do it and you use the same characters, that's it. I mean, same characters from this book. No problem. Gotcha too. Yeah. All right. Now, let's talk about a little bit of grammar. We got until 9:30. So we got sort of 14 minutes left. So that let's double check the thing that we should study today. Correlative coordinators. Um, Give me a second. Oh, yeah. Como no he escuchado a nadie hablar, entonces no sé si están funcionando los audífonos, pero creo que tengo todo ok como para escucharles. Okay. Correlative coordinators. In this case, correlative conjunctions or coordinators in this case are pretty much the same thing. You know, conjunctions equals coordinators. And the main, in this case, uh, representatives to the correlative conjunctions or coordinators are neither nor, either or, and both and. All right. So correlative conjunctions or coordinators are pairs of words such as, again, neither nor, not only, but also. All right. That's, those are more examples, but they always come in pairs in this case. And the idea is to connect two balanced clauses, phrases, or words. Okay. Normally, they can be, for example, equal in this case, or complementary, or they can be opposite. Like in the case that you use, for example, not only or but also, etc. Two elements. In this case, the two elements that correlative conjunctions connect are usually similar in length and grammatical structure and weight, of meaning. For example, we have either or, right? So in this case, you have to choose. You gotta make an election in this case, make a choice. For example, we can go to either Greece or Spain for our holiday. It's my final offer. You can either take it or leave it, right? So in this case, you have elements which are kind of in this case, you got equalized choices, Greece or Spain. They got pretty much the same value. And then you put, for example, one option right after either, and right after or, you in this case place the other option, right? And before either, we need to put the verbs, in this case, subject, verbs, right? In the second example, it's pretty much the same thing. You can have a lot of dialogue before that, but then again, subject, verb, then you have the first correlative conjunction. In this case, we're using verbs as, in this case, elements which are in between or among the correlative conjunctions. So in the first case, we got noun or proper noun, which is Greece and Spain. In the second case, we have more verbs. Take it or leave it. That's possible? Yes, of course, it is. Then we got both and. So in this case, for example, we are not making, in this case, a choice. We are indicating that two elements are, in this case, contained, or we are using both. We're talking about both. We're including both. For example, both rugby and football are popular in France. Both English and Welsh are spoken in Wales. So we got, again, common nouns in this case, and then we can have more nouns, never adjectives alone, because that doesn't work. You need either verbs or nouns, which can be proper or common. And so we are including in this case. This is pretty much inclusive, both and. All right. First case is, you need to choose one. Second case, you are including in this case both elements. What else? Not only, but also we're including in this case. All right. They can be opposite, but you're again including them in the situation. Not only is he a professional footballer, but he's also a successful businessman. All right. So maybe two different characteristics, but they are part, of the same, in this case, character, the same figure, etc. And in this case, not only is he, I'm pretty sure I've seen it in a different word order in this case. Not only is he, or not only he is. I've seen it both ways. A professional footballer, but he's also a successful. Not only is he, it's kind of old-fashioned anyway, but it's possible, yeah, of course. But he's also a successful businessman. All right. So in this case, not only, and then we have a whole, like a full sentence, and then you use a comma to separate ideas. But he's also, in this case, you have to put again a subject with a verb in this case, because also goes after the verb to be in this case. And then the rest of a sentence, to complete the idea, because you need, in this case, professional footballer is pretty much like a description of the character, in this case, of the subject. And then if you name the subject again, yes, you need to complete the idea with an opposite characteristic or a complementary characteristic, which is a successful businessman, right? Normally we use not only, but also when we want to remark, in this case, or highlight another extraordinary characteristic of this subject. It's a professional footballer, which is like kind of extraordinary, one thing, and then also a successful businessman, which makes this person even more remarkable or outstanding. What else? Not but, neither nor, whether or, no sooner than. Okay. Not but in this case, it's kind of simpler. There are not two, but three Baltic states: Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. Baltic, I remember Baltica, the beer. There are not two, but three Baltic states. So in this case, we are kind of adding more elements. It's like saying, like, normally we mention two, but there are more, three actually. Let's say the then in sport, what counts is not the winning, but the taking part. So yeah, in this case also we are indicating an opposition in this case. Not the winning, but the taking part. Okay, not two, but three. In this case, we are like adding one more element, which was not considered before. And in this case, we're completely, indicating an opposition between two principles. Not the winning is important. What is important is the taking part in this case. Es como, lo importante no es ganar, lo importante es participar. That's a typical, motivational phrase. I'm going to read the chat room. Profe, either sería como presentar dos opciones y neither sería como descartar dos opciones o decir tampoco. Absolutely, Fabián. Yeah, yeah. Either es, claro, presentar dos opciones, ¿cierto? Neither es decir como ni esto ni esto, ninguna de las dos. Okay. That's pretty much the idea. Good job, Fabián. Y justamente vamos a llegar a esa parte. Neither Norway nor Switzerland is in the European Union. Like, none of them, ninguna de las dos. Ni Noruega, ni Suiza en este caso. All right? Ni, that's the idea. And the structure is pretty much in this case. We write a proper noun in this case. Also, we can use gerunds like verb with ing, indicating in this case actions, for example, activities, etc. Right? Or common nouns too. Common nouns. I don't know. Neither oranges nor apples are included in my diet, for example. All right. So we use neither, then element one, nor plus element two. And then you have the rest of the sentence, the verb and the rest of the phrases. It's important to analyze the structure too, because when we want to use this correlative conjunctions, we need to understand the the different combination of words and the word order, so that we can sound like or use the English grammar, not the Spanish grammar or any other kind of grammar. Also, we got another different word order here. Marriage is neither heaven nor hell. It is simply purgatory. That's Abraham Lincoln. I mean, it's not a very. I've been married for 10 years, so I don't really know if I can say this is true, but oh, it was a really fun thing, really fun phrase. Thank you, Abraham Lincoln. You made me think about marriage again. Marriage is neither heaven nor hell. It's simply purgatory. Now I got a really happy marriage. I wouldn't say that. Maybe Abraham didn't have like a good experience with his wife. Yeah, but the point here is, we use marriage in this case, which is the main the subject in this case, and then you have the verb is. You can use any other kind of verb in this case. Then you put neither right after the verb, and then we put more elements, like two opposite elements in this case, heaven and hell. The two different opposite concepts, and then we put nor in the middle. All right. And then comma and another subordinate clause, which is it is simple purgatory. Right. So, but normally we put two elements between, or among neither and nor, right? Discarding both, of course. That's the idea. You discard with neither nor. And then finally we have whether or and no sooner than. We are about time, so we can continue tomorrow, talking about this, doing exercises. But let me finish the class with this last two. Whether or in this case, and in this case, you can see clearly the difference between whether and if, because when you use whether, which is similar to if, you see that you need to basically include, or it is implicit, the duality with whether. When you use if, there's no duality. You're just indicating a condition, stating a condition. But in this case, whether normally implies options or duality in this case. Whether you love them or hate them, you have to admit that the Rolling Stones are very popular. I don't like them, but I know that they are big. In my case, I'm totally confused. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. Yeah, you have for example, two opposite principles in this case with whether or. If you say, if you love them or hate them, no, it's really bad to say that. Because in Spanish it's like aún si los amas o los odias in this case. But when you use only if, it's like si tú los amas, then that's the condition, but there's no more elements, no opposition, no duality in the phrase with if. So that's a big difference between, if and whether again. And you need to, in this case, you can use like a phrase, whole phrase in this case, that you put before and after or in this case, and right after whether, among whether and or, you can use full phrases too. The same here, whether I'm coming or going, you can use verbs, not necessarily nouns. And finally, no sooner than, in this case, tan pronto como. No sooner had I finished watering the garden than it started raining. Tan pronto como blah, 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 blah. That's the idea. It's not pretty much like Spanish. We don't have like a full parallel between English and Spanish in this case at all. Sometimes we have no parallels, so we need to interpret the idea. No sooner, and then whole phrase in this case. Had I finished watering the garden, and then after then another phrase, which is normally a subordinate clause or phrase, which depends on the first phrase. That it started raining. There you go. So tomorrow we're gonna continue with with this thing. If I'm gonna upload some links so that you can practice with correlative conjunctions, and then tomorrow we will continue practicing online, live, etc. Okay. Any questions? Any comments before we finish? If there are
Profe,
no
yo quiero hablar un
comments,
ratito después con usted.
dígame, déjame.
No, pero cuando termine la clase, un ratito, un minutito, por favor.
Ah, ya. ¿Hablamos por WhatsApp entonces?
No, sí, por aquí mismo aprovechar porque es cortito.
Dígame entonces.
Es que no con mis compañeros.
Ah, ya, entiendo.
Perdón.
Vamos, si no se preocupe, si es que no haya entendido. Ya. Entonces, that's all for today. Lo que pasa, mijita, que estamos grabando, estamos en YouTube en vivo. Entonces, por eso decía que mejor conversáramos por.
Ok.
La llamo por teléfono. No sé.
No, tranquilo, por WhatsApp. Gracias.
Sí, WhatsApp. Vale, súper. Ya. Eso. Nos vemos, chicos. See you tomorrow. And have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
See
ya.
ya. Cuídense mucho.